company. Standby. Vil lede våring 2 på fartøy i rød 100.
Well, the United States has actually had carriers in the Mediterranean all throughout our history. Now, for the past 20 years, we've been heavily engaged, obviously, in the Middle East against the terrorist threat that's existed in the Middle East. But we've actually transited carriers through the Mediterranean, and we've had carriers here with presence in the Mediterranean itself. So this is not unusual. But obviously, we have more vessels today than we've ever had before because of the added Russian presence as well. And it's a peaceful situation here as long as the Russians continue to behave. And that's what we want them to do. We want President Putin and the Russians to come to a diplomatic solution in Europe so that we can go back to being a peaceful Europe, always vigilant. Well, there haven't been too many incursions into NATO's airspace yet, but should there be, we are ready to deter them in every possible way. We'll shadow them, we'll watch them very closely, and we'll hope that they'll behave as they should.
In the NATO Enhanced Air Policing mission, the Truman will launch aircraft from wherever we happen to be. They will transit across NATO countries, tank with Air Force or NATO airborne tankers, and then man stations on the eastern flank of NATO to help enforce the borders and reassure our partners and allies in the region. The aircraft, when they go, are performing a NATO mission. It is minimally different. There are very slight changes to the rules of engagement because we operate under NATO rules of engagement versus strictly U.S. rules of engagement, and that's about the only change.
At the end of the day, I think what the entire world wants is for President Putin, to actually come to a diplomatic solution in the Ukraine. Will that be possible? I don't know. Only President Putin perhaps knows. But that's why we have to continue to reinforce the Ukrainians so that they can defend themselves in Ukraine and hopefully bring Putin to his senses and understand that the best solution is actually a diplomatic solution. And that's what part of this entire battle group is all about as well. It's about providing deterrence, combined deterrence with all of our NATO allies and partners together to keep President Putin from trying to do anything else.